Arigato, Minakun, and welcome to my first ever Arbitrary Anime Awards. Before anyone asks, yes, I did indeed lift the concept off Turtle Biscuit, but since I admitted to it, it's totally okay. Well, then, he said himself that he wants people to make award shows for things they're passionate about. I mean, I would have ditched the whole arbitrary angle, but the allure of alliteration is always attractive, so there's no way I ever would have done that. I will link his Video Game Awards for 2015 in the description, because it is a hell of a lot better than my video, so check that out if you want something that has actual production value. For anyone that isn't familiar with this particular format, everything from the categories to the nominations, and of course the winner, is decided by me, completely arbitrarily, as awards have no meaning whatsoever. Now with that being said, even when the awards are made up and have no actual value, they still need to be given to the right things. And as such, I will do my best to explain why certain things won certain awards. Now without further ado, let's introduce the categories. First up is the anime that was worse than it had any right to be. Then the award for Best Husbando. Onto the ThatAnimeSnob award for the biggest hype train Derailment. Then it's the Best Trap. Then the anime I didn't expect to like as much as I did. The award for Best OP. The award for the most generic light novel / visual novel adaptation. A category near and dear to my heart, Best Waifu. The most underrated series. Can't have Best OP without Best ED. The anime that should have been short form. The award for Best Anime Titties. And of course, we'll close out the night with the Best Anime of 2016. Timestamps will of course be listed in the description, so if you're just here for memes, then feel free to skip any category with more than 4 syllables. And vice versa if you want to be told what to think by some nobody on the internet. Now that the introduction is out of the way, let's give out some meaningless awards. The anime that was worse than it had any right to be. And the nominees are... Anne Happy. I didn't expect Anne Happy to be a good show, but I expected it to do a passable job at being a cute moe waste of time. Anne Happy somehow surpassed my expectations on how bad a show that panders to the lowest common denominator could be. Myoga. Because Myoga is in this category, it's evident that I don't think it's an intentionally bad anime. I just think it's a bad anime, though I can feel where the argument is coming from, as it almost feels impossible to make an anime that is this poorly conceived and delivered in this day and age. Joker Game. Joker Game had an extremely interesting setting, but the show itself was entirely unlikable. The decision to make this an episodic series that revolved around 9 near-identical looking spies that had no distinguishing characteristics still baffles me. Quality Code. Quality Code, more than any other school action show this year, it's just bad. And when a mess like this comes from a light novel, I see it as par for the course. However, when the anime in question is an original concept, I can't help but feel that it's just an overwhelming waste of time and resources. I'll say now that the name of this category is entirely hyperbolic, and I don't really hate any of these shows. Granted, I ended up dropping most of them, but that's more because watching them weekly gives me a long time to consider whether I'm really invested in the show. With that being said, all of these anime did disappoint me. Whether they wasted their potential or somehow disappointed me when my bar was so low I didn't think it was possible for me to be disappointed. And the winner is... Myoga. It was kind of a tough decision between Myoga and Joker Game. But whereas Joker Game's biggest fault was that it misused its setting, Myoga showed a lack of competency in almost every aspect. It's my opinion that some anime are just bad and that we should deal with this fact instead of excusing garbage for no other reason than our own self-satisfaction. Best Husbando. And the nominees are... All Might, from Boku no Hero Academia. I want All Might to be my daddy, so I can eat his hair. Sakamoto, from Sakamoto Desuka. Sakamoto is the answer to the question. What's cooler than being cool? Arbitrary Reagan. Mob Psycho 100. Anyone who says that perfect men don't exist has obviously never met Arbitrary Reagan. And I pity any person that has not had the pleasure nay the privilege to gaze upon this Adonis of a man. Tsukushima Ke from Haikyuu. I would slam my balls very hard on his hand and make him bleed, as I would find that extremely stimulating. And the winner is Reagan. As if there was any doubt Reagan would win this one. If you disagree with me, please keep your shitty opinion to yourself, you filthy Fujoshi. The ThatAnimeSnob Award for the biggest type train derailment. And the nominees are Erased. Between the obvious killer and the anticlimactic ending, Erased was one of the biggest letdowns of this year. ReZero. ReZero was extremely divisive from its first episodes, but a large amount of fans got off the hype train when Best Girl was brutally rejected. Because you're allowed to make a bad show, but God help you when you trash Best Girl. Kiznaiver. Trigger is a well-liked studio here in the West. Their unique art style and crazy ideas resonate well, but it felt like the hype worked against them with Kiznaiver. It wasn't entirely a bad show, but the ending left much to be desired. Shokugeki no Soma Season 2. Fresh off its first season, Shokugeki had to make a big splash with its return. And instead of that, we got 5 episodes of poorly paced garbage. The show may have returned to form after a rocky start, but it still left a sour taste. Naturally, most of these shows are ones that the Snobdy hyped at the beginning of their respective seasons. Though the real reason I wanted to make this category was to address the bigger issue of hype in general. Hyping anime is in no way a bad thing, but hyping for the sake of hyping something doesn't lead us anywhere but in circles, jacking each other off while we glorify the current season hit. The fall season exemplifies this greatly in the fact that nothing was hyped as much as shows like Erased and ReZero, which meant the season was boring. And it wasn't boring, there was a decent show in almost every genre, but not one outstanding show. This is usually when Total Biscuit would say something like, "Stop pre-ordering video games." So I guess I'll say, stop overhyping anime. And the winner of the ThatAnimeSnob Award for the biggest hype train derailment is Erased. I think what really sells me on giving this award to Erased is the fact that there's nothing that anyone has left to say about this show. It didn't leave a memorable character, or funny dialogue, or a layered story. There's nothing left to unpack about Erased, and yet it was so unbelievably discussed and analysed. For something that was this hype, you'd think there'd at least be some rewatch value to be had. Best Trap. And the nominees are Felix, from ReZero Karihajimaru Isekai Sekatsu. Cat guys are a rarity in anime, but I hope the popularity of Felix changes that. Chihiro, Shonen Maid. I have definitely seen this show. It's about it. What's the word? Man-made, right? Yeah. It's about a man-made mob from Mob Psycho 100. I'm not saying that I'd consider fucking Mob while he's in that dress. But I'd consider fucking Mob while he's in that dress. Lapucelle from Magical Girl Racing Project. Does this one even count? You know what, I'm gonna say it counts, yeah. It counts, yeah. And the winner is Felix. I love Felix, and I want to abolish the laws against marrying your cat. Or at least move to Las Vegas with him, where we can have a small little cat family that we raise together. And then they grow up and go to college, and then I would love them so much. The anime I didn't expect to like as much as I did. And the nominees are Love Live Sunshine. The first half copies the original series almost note for note, but the second half capitalizes on this and explores its themes in a way I thought this series would be incapable of. Boku no Hero Academia. While it was, for the most part, a mindless action shonen, it did mindless action shonen really, really well. Magical Girl Racing Project. When the premise for this show was announced, I felt myself internally sigh and think, not another Madoka clone. I was sorely mistaken. Elder Ramen on the Sky. Elder Ramen seemed like it'd be another generic action show, and I wouldn't say that didn't have its moments of going down that path. However, the series as a whole was captivating, with an interesting setting that was actually explored. There's not quite the right balance yet, but if this series was to continue, I know that it could be something great. There's a commonality between all these shows, and that's their ability to separate themselves from their predecessors. At face value, they could definitely all be called clones. But they have both an awareness of this fact and a drive to surpass those that came before them. And the winner is Magical Girl Raising Project. Magical Girl Raising Project takes the Mahou Shoujo genre, mixes it with a little bit of Battle Royale, and goes crazy with the results. It's tightly written, the themes are consistent, and it was engaging throughout its whole run. Raising Project feels like a step forward for the genre rather than the backward step it seemed fated to be. Best OP. I picked these solely based on how much I liked the song and for no other reason, so I'm just gonna let them play and hopefully not get copyright striked for no reason. And the nominees are and the winner is Climax do Hijitsu. The most generic light novel / visual novel adaptation. And the nominees are Musaigen no Phantom World. There were so many tropes jammed into this, you'd think that A1 Pictures made it. Neto Game. Wait, you mean girls really do play video games? I thought that was a myth. Wagama High Spec. I feel like I could come up with something more original by throwing up on a page. Rewrite. I've heard that the visual novel is far more adept at telling its story, but this anime makes me want to never go near it. And the winner is The Studios. I know it might seem like I'm being unfair to the industry, and I would certainly never say every bad show is a light / visual novel adaptation. Quality Echoed is a much worse show than all of these, and it was an original story. But the fact of the matter is that these shows are generic, and no amount of KyoAni money thrown at a computer screen will ever be able to change that. Best Waifu. And the nominees are Megaman from Konosuba. Chunibu may be a dying trend, but it isn't dead yet, and I'm truly thankful. Suasui, Boku no Hero Academia. You know that the tongue can do some freaky shit. Watanabe Yo, Love Life Sunshine. Watanabe? Well, like, Watanabe? Yori Wakabayashi, Oji-san to Marshmallow. Need me a girl that can just assert herself like Wakabayashi can. Maybe just a girl that'll feed me marshmallows to gain my affection. And the winner is Megaman. Megaman is very cute and very small, and she does the explosion magic. and that's why she is the best waifu of 2016. The most underrated series. And the nominees are Oshita Gakko-chan. A shining example of short form done right. It delivers on its themes and maintains its hilarity throughout its runtime. Planetarian. With standalone OVA series being a lot rarer nowadays than they were back in the 90s, it's nice to see something small and self-contained that has heart and soul to it. In complete contrast to what I felt about Rewrite, I had a strong urge to play the visual novel after I was finished with the anime. Alderramen. I haven't heard anything from anybody about Alderramen, and I don't really get it. Here's an action show that does more right than wrong, and there's nobody saying that it's worthwhile. Tonkatsu DJ Akiteru. Much like a decent sports manga, you get the feeling there was a lot of research done to produce this show. The subdued visuals really make you focus on the music. And this was either a conscious decision by the director or a creative endeavor by the studio due to budgetary restraints. Either way, it made for a memorable show. These shows felt overshadowed by the hype monsters, particularly Planetarian, as pointed out by Digibro and Jesse on the Plebe and the Weeb. And to me that's a crying shame. I get that we can't watch all the anime, but if anything needed hype, it was these shows. And the winner is Planetarian. Criminally underappreciated for how good it was, despite the fact that it's a basic, predictable story. It was told so well and with so much character, it's almost impossible not to love this series. Best ED. Once again, I only picked these EDs because I liked how they sounded, so let's all put our hands together and pray to the YouTube gods that I don't get any copyright claims. Ramen. And the nominees are...
Do you see the light ahead? Do you see the light ahead? Will you face the night ahead? Will you face the night ahead? So far away, shining rain forever, so far away.
力すくじゃまだ届かずしまいギリギリで繋いで放つ願いただ人やタイミングに恵まれてへこたれずにいられてる真っ向から勝負したい迷ってもじっとこらえとこうチャンスはそこにある、oh, oh.
And the winner is... Mashi Mashi. The anime that should have been short form. And the nominees are... Dagashi Kashi. It was fairly funny in the beginning, but the joke wore out pretty quickly for me. Webworking. I really wanted to like this show, but that chocolate gag wore me out so fast that I just couldn't take it anymore and I ended up dropping it. Kiss Him Not Me. There was a lot to like about this show, but it didn't try and do anything with the premise. So past the first half, the entire thing felt stale. Sakamoto Desu. This show had most of the same problems that Dagashi did, but was almost saved by Sakamoto carrying the whole show on his perfect shoulders. I say almost because there's only a certain amount of times that you can see the same joke repeated over and over, before it doesn't make you laugh anymore. I don't think it's a surprise to anyone that this category is entirely made up of comedy shows. And while comedy is overwhelmingly the most subjective thing that you can talk about, it's one of my favourite genres, and I don't like seeing it mishandled like this. I had the overwhelming feeling that if all of these shows just had been short form, that I would have absolutely loved them all. And the winner is... Dagashi Kashi. Because the first few episodes were as hilarious as they were, it made me think that the show could have just lost to the season, had it just been short form. The best anime titties. And the nominees are Dikashi Kashi. Only one titty, but it was a good quality titty. Kaijo. It had a lot of titty. Usagi no Phantom World. Had more than one titty, but really only one quality titty. Scorching Ping Pong Girls. It had a fair amount of titty, and titty appreciation. And the winner is Scorching Ping Pong Girls. I know a lot of people thought Keijo would take this category and run, but let me give you a breakdown. So, first off, Keijo by its very nature is an arse anime, as there's much more focus given to the lower half than the upper half. There's a reason that the first fight that we see in the series features the butt missile of Kyoto absolutely dominating. Contrast that with Ping Pong Girls, where the focus of the fan service revolves around the bust, especially when they really whack the ball. Now, secondly is the outfits. The characters in Ping Pong usually are wearing short shorts and a tight-fitting shirt in order to emphasize their assets. And you could say that Keijo does the same thing with the characters being constantly in swimwear, except for the fact that Keijo is normalizing the female form and the swimsuit to the point where it's as if the girls are wearing normal clothes. And lastly, there's the fact that the girls in Keijos are almost ever wet. You'd think that in a show where the entire point is to get the other girls in the water, that there'd be more shots of anime girls that are just absolutely drenched, just drenched. But there really isn't. Again, to compare to Ping Pong Girls, that show has the t-shirts almost perpetually covered in sweat so that they cling to the body, leaving enough to the imagination that you can derive even more perverse pleasure from watching them fight to the death. And those are my comprehensive reasons on why Scorching Ping Pong Girls is a better titty anime than Keijo. The best anime of 2016. I've divided this category into the seasons, winter, spring, and so forth, in order to showcase what each season brought to the table and which was the best season. So starting with winter, the nominees are Konosuba. Konosuba had what was possibly the most hilarious and likable cast of the year, and had me bursting at the seams episode after episode. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Diamond is Unbreakable. This show is absolutely incredible. Every time I think it can't do something even crazier than last week, it just keeps going up and up. I absolutely adore the fun and campy nature of this series. Mob Psycho 100. Mob Psycho blows One Punch Man out of the water with how well it executes its themes. One continues to show that it was picked up by these major studios for a reason. Keijo. Keijo, to me, is the perfect sports anime. Something that doesn't take itself too seriously, explores its own meta in fun and interesting ways, and is just overall a good time. Before I announce the overall winner, I want to give some honourable mentions / recommendations for each of the seasons. So starting at winter again, we have Showa Genroku Rakugo Shinju and Oshida Gakko-chan. For spring, there's Boku no Hero Academia and Flying Witch. For summer, there was Alderramen and Planetarian. And for fall, there's Magical Girl Raising Project and Occultic 9. And I hope that between all of those, you can find something to your liking. And the winner of the best anime of 2016 is Keijo. There's honestly nothing I liked more this year than Keijo. Nothing even came close to the absolute blast I had watching this show. Despite its cookie-cutter archetypes, Keijo did what sports anime do best, and that's be engaging, be interesting, and be an absolute full-on experience. Keijo is honestly the closest to a 10 out of 10 I've ever given anything, and that's because my enjoyment was a solid 20 out of 10. To anyone who watched this whole video, I deeply appreciate it. This has been a real long project, and to have even one person make it all the way through is more than I can ask for. I hope to be able to do this again next year with a better mic, maybe, hopefully. But who knows, I certainly don't know what the new year will bring. All I know is that I want to watch Interview with Demi-Humans. Hope you have a daijoubu day, and konnichiwa until next time.